You can spot a bad house in about 30 seconds. In today's video, we're going to share with you exactly what we look for when we're previewing a home. And we're going to tell you what these things actually cost because some of these numbers might surprise you. We get questions all the time from buyers, from sellers, even from people who've been in their house for 20 years. What are we looking for when we walk through a home? Well, we're going to tell you. That's what this video is all about. So stick around. We're going to show you what to look for. Let's get into it. Okay, stick with me here. You got to visualize this. We're pulling up to a home. Before we even get out of the car, we're already looking. We're checking the street, checking the neighborhood, checking the parking situation. Is the driveway big enough for more than one car? If you like to entertain, if you've got family coming over for the holidays or whatever, you need parking. That matters. We're also looking around. Is the property close to a highway? Does it back up to a shopping center or a warehouse? Those are things that can affect your quality of life and your resale value down the road. We're looking at the neighbors. We're looking at their yards. If the yard next door looks like nobody's touched it in 2 years, that could be an issue you're going to be dealing with once you move in. Now, here's something we want you to do before you even get to a showing. Pull out your phone and check 2 things. The FEMA flood map for that address and the local crime stats. Takes you 2 minutes. You can find out if that house is in a flood zone before you waste your time walking through it. Most people don't do this. Do this. All right, now we're out of the car. First thing we do, we look up. We're looking at the roof. We're checking for moss, missing shingles, any buckling or sagging in the ridgeline. Are there tree branches touching the roof? How close are the trees to the house? Because let me tell you, trees that are too close to a house cause all kinds of problems. Root damage, gutter damage, and getting those trees removed is certainly not cheap. Now, let me give you a number. Right now, in 2026, the average roof replacement is running about $11,000. That's the average. Depending on the size of the home and the material, you could be looking at $6,000 all the way up to $22,000. So when we're looking at that roof from the driveway, we're not just seeing shingles, we're seeing dollar signs. And here's something a lot of people don't think about. Your homeowner's insurance premium is directly tied to the age of your roof now. The difference between insuring a newer roof versus one that's 11 to 15 years old, that gap has tripled in just the last few years. So a bad roof doesn't just cost you the replacement, it costs you every single month in higher premiums. And by the way, later in this video, we're going to show you something inside the house that can actually make a property completely uninsurable. You're going to want to see that. Real quick, before we keep going, if you're getting value out of this so far, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button and bell. We put out videos like this every week to help you make smarter real estate decisions. Next, we're walking around the perimeter of the home and we're looking at the foundation. We're looking for cracks. Now, not all cracks are the same, so let me break this down real quick because I want you to memorize this. Vertical cracks, those are the most common. Usually that's just normal settling. If it's thinner than 1/8 of an inch, you're probably fine. Just keep an eye on it. Stair-step cracks that zigzag along the mortar joints, that's telling you one part of the foundation is sinking faster than the other. That's more serious. But the one you really need to worry about? Horizontal cracks. A horizontal crack means soil is pushing against that wall. Any horizontal crack, any width, you need a professional looking at that immediately. And here's your rule of thumb. If any crack is wider than 1/4 of an inch, that's about the width of a pencil, that's a structural concern. Foundation repair averages about $5,000, but we've seen it go up to $30,000 for major work. That's not a typo, $30,000. And while we're out there, we're also looking at the grading. Does the ground slope toward the house or away from it? If the soil is sloping toward the foundation, water is running straight to it. You don't need it to be raining to see this. Just look at the ground. That alone tells you a lot. All right, now we're going inside. And I know my colleagues laugh at me for this, but the first thing I do when I walk through that front door, before we look at anything, take a breath. What does it smell like in there? If you walk into a house and it smells like somebody lit every candle in the store, plug-ins in every outlet, air fresheners in every room, ask yourself why. What are they covering up? Ew. Could be mold. Could be pet damage that's soaked into the subfloor. Could be cigarette smoke in the walls. A house that smells like nothing or smells clean, that's fine. A house that smells like it's trying really hard to smell good, that's a red flag. Next, the floors. And we're serious about this. The floors are the first thing we look at. Hardwood floors. We're looking for black stains, water damage, soft spots, any areas where the wood feels spongy under your feet. If you see that, that section needs to be replaced. Tile floors, marble, porcelain, ceramic. We're looking for cracks and broken tiles. And let me tell you from personal experience, replacing tile is a nightmare. It's not like hardwood where you can refinish it or swap out a section. Tile removal is labor-intensive and expensive. A full house flooring replacement right now can run you about $15,000 to $25,000 or more depending on the material. From the floors, we're looking up. We're checking the walls, checking the ceilings, water stains, patch jobs, cracks. Now, minor cracks in the walls from settling, that's normal. Don't freak out over every little hairline crack, but what we're looking for is fresh paint in one specific area while the rest of the room looks untouched. If somebody painted one section of the ceiling and left the rest, they were covering something up. Water stain, mold, a crack, something was there. Now, windows. We're checking if they're single pane or double pane. We're trying to open and close them. If they're hard to operate, if they're sticking, that's telling you those windows are old and they're going to need to be replaced. And window replacement for a full house, you're looking at $8,000 to $15,000. And here's something most people don't think to do at a showing. Open and close every door in the house, every single one. If doors are sticking, if they won't latch, if you see gaps at the top or bottom that aren't even, that could be a sign the foundation is shifting. It takes 2 seconds per door and it tells you a lot. Okay, this is one of my favorites, and I don't think enough people talk about this. When you're at a showing, go into the bathroom and flush the toilet. Turn on the kitchen faucet. Check the water pressure. I know it feels weird. You're in somebody else's house and you're flushing their toilet, but trust me on this. If the water drains slowly, if the toilet takes a long time to flush, you could be looking at a sewer line issue. And sewer line replacement right now is averaging around $3,300, but it can go up to $10,000 depending on the situation. You're not being rude by testing this stuff. You're being smart. While you're in the bathroom and the kitchen, open the cabinets underneath the sinks. Look under there. Is it wet? Is there mold? Do you see any signs of leaks? Because mold remediation averages about $2,300, but if it's spread through the house, you could be looking at $10,000 to $30,000. That's not something you want to find out after closing. All right, if you've made it this far in the video, good, because this right here is the part you need to hear. This is the stuff that can kill a deal, cost you tens of thousands of dollars, or make a house completely uninsurable. And most people, including a lot of agents, don't even know about some of this. So pay attention. Let's start with the electrical panel. We're looking at the amperage, the condition. Is it overloaded with a bunch of wires coming out of it? All the same things. But here is what we need you to know in 2026 that most people have no clue about. If you open that electrical panel and you see the name Federal Pacific on it, or Zinsco, that is a major problem. Federal Pacific panels are in over 25 million homes in this country. Testing has shown that the majority of their breakers are defective. They're linked to thousands of house fires every year. And here's the kicker. Many insurance companies will flat out refuse to insure a home with one of these panels. If you cannot get insurance, you cannot get a mortgage. And if you can't get a mortgage, you can't buy the house. That's how serious this is. Replacing one of these panels runs about $1,300 to $4,500. But the bigger issue isn't just the cost. It's that it can kill the entire deal. So look at the panel. Read the name on it. Again, Federal Pacific or Zinsco. That's a 10-second check that could save you from a disaster. Now, if the home was built before 1950, you need to ask about the wiring. Older homes can still have knob and tube wiring in the walls. And just like those panels we just talked about, most standard insurance companies will not cover a home with knob and tube. Rewiring a house runs anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 depending on the size. And here's the thing that trips people up. Just because the electrical panel looks new doesn't mean the house has been rewired. Those are two different things. A lot of people miss that. Let's talk about the furnace and the AC. We're looking at the condition. Is there corrosion on the valves, on the pipes even? Does it look rusted and like nobody's touched it in years? That tells us there's been little to no maintenance. A gas furnace typically lasts about 15 to 20 years. Central air, 10 to 15. Full HVAC replacement right now running $7,500 to $14,000. So if that system is pushing 15 years and it looks rough, budget for it. Water heater. First thing we look for is the date. There's a sticker or a label on every water heater that tells you when it was installed or manufactured. If that thing is 8 years old or older, you're getting close to replacement time. Tank water heaters last about 8 to 12 years, and a new one's going to cost you about $1,300. It's not the most expensive thing on the list, but it's one of those things that'll go out on you at the worst possible time. And one more thing we want you to know about. If the house was built between 1978 and 1995, look at the pipes. If you see gray, flexible piping, that's called polybutylene. The chlorine in your water supply reacts with this material over time, and the connections can fail without any warning. We're not talking about a slow leak. We're talking about a pipe blowing apart. Several major insurance companies will not cover a home with polybutylene pipes. That means you might need a full replumb before you can even close on the house. If the home has a basement, especially an unfinished one, we're going to be looking for moisture. If there's a dehumidifier down there, or multiple dehumidifiers, ask yourself why. If you see lines on the walls, like a watermark a few inches up from the floor, that's telling you there was water in that basement at some point. We're also looking at the foundation from the inside now. Same rules as outside. Horizontal cracks are the most serious. 1/4 inch or wider is a structural concern. And if you saw cracks on the exterior and you're seeing them again on the interior, that's compounding evidence that there's a real problem here. Now, if there's been renovation work done, a finished basement, a remodeled bathroom, any kind of addition, here's a pro tip. Go to your local building department and pull the permit history for that address. If the work wasn't permitted, it wasn't inspected. And if it wasn't inspected, nobody verified it was done to code. That one step can save you more than anything else I've told you about today. So let's add all of this up. If you walk into a showing and you spot a defective electrical panel, a horizontal foundation crack, and a roof that's at the end of its life, just those 3 things, you could be looking at $17,000 to $42,000 in repairs before you've even unpacked a single box. But I will tell you, if you've spotted a few of these things on this list, it's a bad house. Yeah, that's right. And that's why you need to catch these things before you're under contract, not after. And keep this in mind. This does not give you permission to skip your home inspection. I don't care if you went through this entire list and you didn't find a single thing. You still hire a home inspector. A home inspection costs about $300 to $600. That's it. And 46% of buyers who get an inspection use the results to negotiate a lower price, saving an average of $14,000. That is the best return on investment in all of real estate. And please, do not rely on the seller's disclosure. I'm sorry to say it, but 60% of sellers admit they didn't disclose a known problem with their property. That's the data. So if the disclosure says there are no issues, that's great. But you still need to be looking for these things with your own eyes. Now, always remember, this isn't about finding the perfect home. There's no such thing. It's about knowing what you're walking into so you don't end up in a money pit. We want to know. Tell us in the comments. Have you seen any of these things I've mentioned? Have you ever walked away from a house because of something you spotted? Or maybe you bought it anyway and wish you hadn't. We want to hear about it. Drop it in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We put out videos like this every single week. And if you know somebody that's looking for a house and going to all these open houses, send them this video. It just might help them out and keep them from making a costly mistake. Until next time, friends.